how many of you think long copy sells better than short copy? And how many of you think, no one reads all of that copy, I'm going to go with short copy? Interesting. So, I love this quote. Copy is like a woman's skirt. It should be long enough to cover the essentials, but short enough to keep it interesting. I'm going to show you some examples, not of women's skirts, but of long copy and short copy examples. So this is an example shared by Content Verve, and what they found is that the long copy, the treatment, sold 63% more sales than the short version. 63% more. How many of you have seen or read the New Rules of Business sales page? Raise your hand if you've seen or read it. Some people say they're still reading it. So I was involved in the writing of that sales page, and it's more than 20 pages long. So those of you that said you prefer short, realize that you're here in this room, as an example, at one point of probably reading a very long sales page. So keep that in mind. Remember earlier today we talked about how to write for the web, and that Jacob Nielsen and the Nielsen Group say that 79% of our test users always scanned any page, only 16% read word for word. What that means is it's okay to have a long-form sales page. Most people aren't going to read it word for word, but they're going to scan it to get most of the information, right? So remember, it is true that people don't read all of that copy, but they'll scan that copy, and 16% will read it word for word, especially if it's for an expensive product, okay? There's something to consider. What's my opinion on this? Typically, I write long copy, but I only write it when it's for something that requires long copy. It's like that example of a woman's skirt. It needs to be just the right length. Imagine if you had a salesperson and you said to them, okay, in your sales pitch, you're a very good salesperson, you're performing, you're making sales, but you're talking too long. I want you to only speak for a short amount of time. You can only sell for 10 minutes and then you need to keep quiet. Wouldn't that be a ludicrous thing to tell someone? Why would you say that? Because if they're performing and they're talking as long as they need to make the sale, you would never ask them to limit themselves because you have some idea that no one listens for that long, right? Conversely, with Harry Potter, I've never read a Harry Potter book, but some of them are between 400 and 800 pages, yet people will read that because it's interesting. They'll read every single page. So it's just something to think about. People will read as long as they find it interesting and relevant to them. They'll read all of it. So remember, for a lot of you, you are not your target market. So trying to think like them and what they'll find interesting is sometimes difficult. We over-assume things. So my opinion is that for a high price point, I think you need longer copy because you need to sell more, right? If they're going to part with a lot of money or it's a big decision for them, I believe you need longer copy because you need to convince them to do something that is unnatural, and that is either to spend a lot of money or to make a big decision. Also, if it's an unfamiliar audience, if they don't know you, never heard of you, and they've just come to your site, I think you need more copy in order to build that relationship and to convince them. So if they're completely cold traffic, I believe longer copy is going to work better than shorter copy because you've got more explaining to do